Welcome everyone. I'm really excited to introduce our Citizen Initiative awardees for this year. Tell you a little bit about why we are honoring them and what they have done to earn these awards. A really great group of individuals and groups of folks who have earned these. I'm sure you've read a little bit about them, but I'm going to take the opportunity to talk about it a little bit. To the awardees, if I get anything wrong, please correct me. And then I will give them a few minutes if they want to say anything, or if anyone has any questions for them, feel free. We'll build in a few minutes if you have any questions about what they did, or you know, how that can help you as you try to be an engaged citizen. So our first group I am going to call is Let Forest Park Vote. So anyone from Let Forest Park Vote? I know there's a few of you here. So
All guys at the back.
wow, look at that. You want to hold that in front there while we let's get a good picture and then we can. All right, everybody right here. Okay, one more. Outstanding. Okay, so this award is recognizing Let Forest Park Vote on video gaming for the incredible effort that they put in direct democracy. Despite high barriers, they were able to put a binding referendum on the ballot and vote Forest Park to prohibit video gaming or gambling within the village. This was a years-long effort. So we have very few opportunities for referendums in Illinois, about 300. And for binding referendums. You can do advisory questions, but very few for binding. And many of those have requirements of maybe 5 or 8 or 10% of voters in the last election. This one has a barrier of 25% of registered voters. Wow. Insanely high amount. We have elections with fewer than 25% of the voters participating. Maybe at 25%. What was the total number of signatures that you guys got?
3,255.
I mean, that's
because we had so much fun with it.
That's like essentially that comes out to being like close to a quarter of the town, right? Because you had to go over the
14,000 in the town.
Yeah, so I mean, absolutely insanely high number. You really will not see percentages like that, and to do that successfully was tremendous. But it wasn't just that. The story is much deeper than that. So this began in, correct me if I'm wrong, 2016 was the
drive for the get on the ballot started.
The get on the ballot started in 2016, and actually in 2015 there was an advisory referendum, and
2013.
2013, sorry. Forest Park voters overwhelmingly rejected video gaming. They said we don't want it. There was also a survey that came out of the water bills that they overwhelmingly said we don't want this, and yet the village went ahead and passed video gaming. So the effort began in 2016, and who's heard of the rule of 3? No?
Oh,
A few people, there you go. Yes. So in Illinois, there's a rule that you can only have 3 questions per election per unit of government on the ballot. There are a few minor exceptions, but a binding referendum for video gaming isn't one of them. So when these folks started to collect signatures, some people who were connected with the gaming operators and the bars in town that had those sent out people to collect signatures for an advisory referendum for actually 6 separate questions in 2 packs of 3. And for that, you only need 8% of the voters in the last gubernatorial election, which is a much lower number. What, probably like 5.
300.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
We can do that right now. We'll be back. I need my clipboard.
So they got those. They bumped them from the 2017 municipal election ballot. And then they said, well, we're going to challenge you. We're going to say that you can't be on the ballot in November 2018 because you had collected them for that other election. Correct?
Yeah.
They went to court over this. I actually went down and observed at the Cook County Circuit Court, and that circuit court judge ruled against them. but that wasn't it. So it's not.
Get some extraneous sheets too.
Yeah. So, but wait, there's more.
Yeah.
They went to the First District Appellate Court, and they got it overturned. The opposition, some owners of bars and the video game operators, actually appealed to the Illinois Supreme Court, which finally said we aren't going to take it. The appellate case is going to stand, and this got on the ballot in this past November. They won.
People.
And we were planning on honoring them with this. We've started talking about this in October, I think, as we were gearing up for the election. So it's even better that you guys won, but you were going to get it. we were just so impressed by the effort, the dedication it took to do something like that. You really won't see higher barriers to direct democracy, and yet they overcame them, got on the ballot and won.
And the turnout for that election was
Yeah.
stupendous. You just mentioned it, didn't you, Betty? The turnout for
We had close to 70% of our
Wow.
registered electorate show up.
Yeah.
We knew it was gonna be a big one, but when people are lining up in Maywood to vote,
Oh my
that's
God.
when you've got something
I-
special.
Could somebody speak to the imbalance on the war chests?
The opposition, the bar owners in the gaming industry, managed to collect, what was it, $68,000 in the course of 2 weeks for their flyers and whatnot. And I think over the course of 2 years, we collected about $15,000. Mostly mostly from us.
Yeah, we're all broke.
We win it all back in the casino.
Party at Rivers.
Yeah, so, yeah, it was a real David and Goliath. They had all the money, and we had what we had in our pockets, and we still managed to overcome. And I think because a lot of voters were not impressed with the voter suppression tactics.
Yeah.
And people that had been neutral, that didn't really care, said, well, I care about voter suppression, so I'm not having any of this. So it did make a difference for us, and unfortunately for them, it didn't work out so good.
What was your winning percentage?
Like a point.
51%.
51-49.
Votes separated
51-48.
between the yes and the no.
By the
Yeah.
skin of
By the
Yes.
skin of our teeth.
It
Yes.
was.
Well,
Question, so, given that you guys had initially said that there was, this, not vote, survey, whatever it was, in the city saying the popular vote was, we don't want this in our city, yet city council, whoever your reps are, still decided to go with what they want, not what what their constituents wanted.
Exactly.
Have you all thought about that after this? Like,
Oh,
are you
yeah.
guys trying to vote them out to get people more
The
excited?
current mayor is
Jessica,
not
two
running
candidates.
for elected office come April 2nd. And we do have a couple
there you
of
go.
people here that are candidates for the village commission.
While we're nonpartisan and obviously don't endorse candidates, we always encourage people to run, and we help anyone we can get on the ballot. So.
And didn't you
Can I
guys
make
get
one point?
international press on this matter?
I know we were in U.S. News and World Report.
Eventually,
just
after the vote.
I just
Chicago
wanted to
Tribune
say
is
that
as international as we got.
I got picked up by the.
But this
you
is
were
our
voting.
20-year mayor who has, in the last several years, not been able to really deliver anything to those that he holds in higher power. I think this broke his back, that he could not keep gaming in town, even though he forced it through. And he
Yeah.
has chosen not to run for reelection.
Knowing that he
20 years.
lose.
Right.
And I think, for all of us, it was a huge accomplishment for Forest Park personally, and I think I speak for a lot of the guys here. I hope it's contagious across the western suburbs.
Yeah.
This is the sort of thing that needs to continue to happen.
Yeah. And-
Transparency and sunshine.
And the
We
fir-
have
the first
signs
time-
to share.
Plenty of
Oh, yeah.
signs to share.
Yeah.
Generic.
Yeah. The first time in Illinois that video gambling has been in a community and then been pulled back by a popular vote. So, yeah.
Great job, everyone.
Yes, absolutely.
Nice.
I don't care. Where do you want?
Oh, let's see that.
Oh, I know.